Hello and welcome to Single Payer Radio. I'm Paul Hoppe, broadcasting from the Hayburn Building in Louisville on the WFMP 106.5 Forward Radio Community Network. Our programs air every Monday at 2 p.m., Tuesday at 7 a.m., and Wednesday at 11 a.m. And we also stream our show on SoundCloud. The show is a product of Kentuckians for Single Payer Healthcare, affiliated with Physicians for a National Health Program through its Kentucky chapter. We produce this program because we believe healthcare is a human right. We advocate for a national, not-for-profit, publicly funded single-payer healthcare system for everyone. The views and opinions expressed on our show are those of the speakers and not the station. Our station relies on volunteers like myself and your ideas and donations to keep us on the air. Today, Drs. Mike Flynn and Eugene Shively join me as co-hosts with their guests, and Michael will introduce them. So, Mike?
Yeah, this is Michael Flynn. I'm a retired surgical oncologist from the University of Louisville. And let me begin with the usual disclaimer that any comments I make represent my personal views and do not represent the views of the Department of Surgery or the University of Louisville. Gene?
This is Eugene Shively. I'm a retired general surgeon from Campbellsville, Kentucky. I spent my whole career in rural Kentucky. The views that I express are those of my own and not Taylor Regional Hospital, nor the Department of Surgery at the University of Louisville.
We have a special program today. We have three guests representing an organization, SPAVA, S-P-A-V-A, the Society for the Prevention of Violence and Aggressiveness in Adolescents. And we've had them on before. They did a program, and it was so well received, we've asked them to come back to have a wider discussion about some of these issues. I will briefly introduce each of these individuals and then give them each an opportunity to make whatever comments they'd like to make for as long as they'd like to make them. And I would ask each of them, for the benefit of our listeners, to expand upon the introduction that I make so that they have a better understanding of the issues and the background of SPAVA. First of all, Tim Banerjee is a retired neurosurgeon and a farmer, and he started SPAVA after the Heath High School shooting in West Paducah in 1997. Doris Mann is a longtime teacher and administrator. She's a SPAVA board member and coordinator. Mark Hudson is a CPA, the owner of Strategic CFO Services. He's a SPAVA mentor, a board member, has been a treasurer, and I think is currently present. And if I get that wrong, Mark, you can correct me. So, thank you all for coming. We're looking forward to the discussions. Tim, we're going to begin with you, and you make comments for as long as you'd like about whatever you'd like, and then we'll let Doris and then Mark. So, Tim, the floor is yours.
Well, good morning. I just want to say that to Dr. Flynn that I'm really not quite retired. I still run the neurosurgery clinic. I stopped operating. But anyway, so in 1997, after the Heath High School shooting, I, at that time, happened to be teaching in Cambridge, England, and I saw that, and then I called Archbishop Kelly and Mr. Maurice Reisner from JCPS, and I said, I could probably help the children to be more respectful and not kill each other. So I called my late friend, Mr. Larry Franklin, the attorney, and Judge Mary Corey, who is also retired, and asked them to help us to form a nonprofit organization. And before I arrived from England, they had already done all that. So it was with their help and with Mr. Tim O'Mara, we formed an organization called SPAVA, Society for the Prevention of Aggressiveness and Violence Among Adolescents. Our plan was that time to kind of visit in the school system, JCPS, and the Catholic schools, and help the children to understand the value of respect, integrity, and learning to honor each other. And we started the program with a scholarship for the children in the name of Gandhi and King, even before United Nations started doing that. That was the year before that, to honoring those two men who were both killed by gun violence, because I was very concerned that gun violence is becoming a common problem in the school system and everywhere else, actually. So that was the whole idea of starting this program. And the way it happened was that I went to the school also at first before I wrote the curriculum, which JCPS modified and made it much better than I could have done. Is that I went to a class, I went to a 7th grade class, and asked the teacher if I could just ask a few questions to the children. And she said yes. And so I asked the kids if they ever heard of a guy called Mahatma Gandhi. So one of the kids raised his hand, and I've never forgotten that. So I said, okay, so tell me what you know about Mahatma Gandhi. So he said, oh yeah, he's that funny looking dude with no clothes on. Because I figured he must have seen the Gandhi movie. And so I thought it would be wonderful if we could introduce the concept of Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King to the school system by telling the children about them and about their work of nonviolence. And that's how we went about. And then, of course, I taught in multiple schools. And then at present, Dr. Doris Mann runs the program with Mr. Mark Hudson is our president. And so I'm going to let them kind of take over and go from there.
Doris, it's your turn.
All right. Good afternoon, and thank you, as Timir said, for letting us be a part of your show again. Yes, I am a retired educator. I either taught or was in administration for 37 years, 31 years at Jefferson County Public Schools. And I always worked with at-risk kids, or what we call the ACEs kids, the adverse childhood experience kids that deal with trauma and divorce, violence, that kind of thing. So Dr. Banerjee came to Southern Middle School, I think maybe the second or third year that he had started SPAVA, and he happened to have my class of students. And my students absolutely worshiped the ground the man walked on. He'd come in the building, and they were like little ducks following him when he got in the building. And kids would want to be a part of this program, even though they had never been in the program. I mean, so word spread really quickly that Dr. Banerjee was a cool guy to follow. And then I was at Thomas Jefferson, and Dr. Banerjee walked from here. Where did you walk to, Dr. Banerjee? To Colorado?
To Oregon.
Oh, to Oregon, okay.
Across the country.
Yep, talking about peace and nonviolence and just making people aware of the issues that were going on. And Dr. Banerjee actually, at that time, I was at Thomas Jefferson, and our class went down, and they had media covering it. So we got to cheer Dr. Banerjee on as he started his walk. And then in 2017, I became the coordinator, and I've been the coordinator ever since. And it's my job to work with schools and organizations to find mentors to work with our students, helping them learn to resolve conflict peacefully. So that's what I do. And I write grants and lots of other things.
Lots of other things.
Mark, it's your turn.
Okay. This is Mark Hudson, and I've been associated with SPAVA since 2006. First of all, thanks for having us again. We appreciate the opportunity. I was the president of the East Louisville Sunrise Rotary Club in 2005 and 6, and Dr. Banerjee was a member of that club, and he was urging me, that may be an understatement, urging me to become a SPAVA mentor. So I said, once I get done with this Rotary thing, I will do that. So in 2006, I became a mentor, and I never could picture myself in front of a class teaching, but I hooked up with a a gentleman I didn't know, only met through SPAVA, and he and I became a SPAVA team, which is there's actually an important concept of SPAVA that mentors can team up and kind of share the responsibility. It's a little bit, I will say, I will admit at the beginning, a little bit of a daunting task getting up in front of a class, but seemed to go okay because I did that for, I guess, about 13, 14 years. And we do multiple classes. And unfortunately, my SPAVA mentor partner has passed away in the meantime, but that was my kind of introduction to SPAVA, and that kind of grew through the years. And the enjoyment level of working with the kids was just, I just really can't describe it. It's challenging, no doubt, because you feel like every time you go into that class, you've got such a responsibility to kind of help these kids through the difficult game of life. And in some cases, it's extremely difficult for these kids, but I got to meet so many wonderful kids. And I guess the highlight of my SPAVA career was, and this has happened multiple times, and I don't think it's because, I'm sure it's not because of me. I'm sure it's because of the program, but we come back and visit the kids. They have graduation after. I work mostly with 4th and 5th graders, but when you come back to visit, they just kind of spontaneously come up and we all have a group hug together. So it's just never could have envisioned anything like that when you're working with the kids. But so I guess it's definitely safe to say that being a SPAVA mentor has, I think, been the single most gratifying experience of my professional life for sure. And I'm not doing this direct mentoring anymore. I'm working with Doris and Timir and the SPAVA board as the president. And that's, my role has shifted a little bit, but I hope it's, I'm not sure I'm as effective as as president as I was as a mentor. I hope I was effective. But it seems like that's what the organization requires at this time.
Gene, you want to begin the conversation?
Would you remind us again what SPAVA stands for?
Yes, I can say it is Society for the Prevention of Aggressiveness and Violence Among Adolescents.
And is this a program that's just isolated to Louisville, or has it spread to other cities and towns throughout the Kentucky and the United States?
I can tell you this. I was invited to Jackson, Mississippi by the superintendent of the schools, and I did some training, but I told them that they would have to raise their own money because I from Louisville could not provide them funds for the scholarship. So I don't believe it went very far after that. Then I was invited to New Mexico, Albuquerque, by the Attorney General to train lots of people and tell them about the program, and I did that. And then I also trained people in Canada. I was invited to a school in Vancouver, and so I went and trained a bunch of people in there, and they taught the program for a year, I think, and then they stopped. So I don't believe it has become effective in any other places, but they know about it because when I walked across the United States with a sign that said SPAVA on my chest and carrying a little sign that says Walk for Kids, people stopped and we did it. I met multiple Rotary clubs on the way, if there was a proper time. And I did introduce the program to different people, and we had lots of donations from different organizations, but I'm not sure that it has become part of multiple state program. It should be, because we basically teach children respect and honor and integrity and empathy, and I have taught in multiple schools with this kind of interactive situations. For them to do one act of kindness every day and keep a kindness log to help them to understand the value of respecting each other and not call bad names if somebody disagrees with me, And so that was where it was.
Are you still connected with the Rotary Club, and have you considered trying to make SPAVA a principal project for the Rotary Club in the state of Kentucky?
I am not involved with the Rotary Club anymore. It takes me so much time to what I do. A Rotary Club always meets early in the morning, and I got to feed lots of animals and do different things, and I just not able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can jump in on that one as well. And for some actually different reasons, I'm not involved with the Rotary Club either. So at this point, other than I have spoken to the Rotary Club about SPAVA in the last several years, but at this point we have no direct relationship, ongoing relationship with the Rotary Club.
Well, I'm a member of the Rotary Club, and as you know, we have various projects, and it seems like that this would be a really good project, at least for the district and maybe for the whole state, if we could get them involved. They do a good job with the Rotary Foundation and the international projects and local projects that they do.
Doris, let me tell my story about my one experience being a mentor. I was recruited by Timir, and this was, I don't remember exactly the year, it was in the early 2000s, and I did it with a fellow from the political science department at the University of Louisville. And we showed up on Wednesday afternoon for, I can't remember the 8 or 10 weeks, and had this really remarkable experience with in a grammar school which was behind Churchill Downs and between Churchill Downs and Southern Parkway. And
Simple.
Simple
You were
Elementary.
at Simple
Simple
Elementary.
Elementary.
Yes.
I've been there.
And it started, it was a little rough to start off, but to the end of it, we really had, it was a remarkable experience. At the end of the day, they sent me, I've got a bunch of letters and the pictures and drawings that they all sent. So my question to you, Doris, is how do you recruit people? If you're the coordinator, I guess that's your job.
Well, one of the ways we do that, Mark and I go to and speak at a class at U of L that Dr. Laura Haynes, who's on the board, the SPAVA board also, is a psychology professor at U of L. And for her students have to do 28 hours of community service as part of their grade for the semester. And 5 different nonprofits go and speak to her class. And then they choose who they want to work with, which organization they want to work with. So Mark and I do a presentation. We get students from there. Also, Dr. Haynes has students who are doing their internships, which through U of L Psychology Department, and they need approximately 150 hours. I had 2 interns from Dr. Haynes's classes, first semester, and then 1 intern second semester this past school year. And I've already got the name of somebody for this coming school year. So that's one source of mentors. Then also, I am reaching out this year to the fraternities and sororities at U of L. I am reaching out to the Jefferson County Retired Teachers Association and going to speak at one of their luncheons. I belong to the Cathedral of the Assumption and sing in their Sunday night choir. And Father Chandler, who was the pastor in May, let me come and speak at all 4 of the masses about SPAVA, trying to get mentors, and I've got some mentors that way. So it's anybody that I can think that will help. I've had some mentors from Bellarmine. I've had some mentors from Spalding. I now have the name of Simmons is starting an education program this year. And so I've already spoken to a gentleman that's a part of that program, and I'm going to go speak to someone at Simmons to try to get some mentors from there, because we need Black males working with our students.
Do you
So-
have some specific guidelines? Because when we did this, and again, it was early on, I think, in the program, and Tim had given us an idea of kind of what they wanted to do, but we didn't really have a lot of specifics, and we kind of made it up as we went along. And again, it was very enjoyable. One of the things that I did was I had everybody stand up, and they would come to me, and we would shake hands. They would look into my eyes, and they would say, "My name is Peter O'Toole, how do you do?" And "My name is Mary Murphy." And we did things like that. So I guess when you're taking these young interns and people, do you have a pretty good outline of what you want them to accomplish or how you want them to do it?
Yes, several years ago, Dr. Banerjee or Mark, you may know this, either one, Mr. Hudson, a big curriculum guide was developed for K through second grade and then third through 12th grade. And it's all on the website. And the website has just, we are working on getting it updated, new and exciting website. But you can go to that website and find the curriculum guide, which tells, it's got lessons for, activities for each of the 10 lessons, what the students are covering. But one of the things that I'm working on this summer is getting more interactive, engaging activities as a part of this, because with students now, especially since the pandemic, they have become so driven by iPads and technology and that kind of thing that in classes, it's almost like, especially with the smaller ones, you have to use videos to kind of help them understand what you're talking about, for words such as empathy. That's a very difficult word sometimes for people to wrap their head around, as children, but then even adults. So there's so many wonderful resources, either YouTube videos, children's books, that kind of thing. So the goal this summer and then through this coming school year is to definitely update the curriculum so that we have all of these resources that people could use in addition to what's already in the curriculum guide. So there definitely is protocol to follow with what they're teaching each week and the type of activities and that kind of thing. Because one of the most important things I tell the mentors is you can't talk at the students, you have to work with the students and make the students feel like they're very much a part of what you're doing.
Do you have training programs?
Oh, yeah, there is training. It doesn't take very long, but it's just basically helping the mentors understand things like professional etiquette, integrity. They can't talk about the students when they're out in public places. Nothing faith-based can be mentioned. Those kind of things are discussed. And then the mentors have to do a background check also. Timir?
Do you get various churches involved in this?
Oh, Timir.
Tim, did you want to say something?
I didn't quite understand the question. Tell me the question again.
Do you get churches involved in your program?
Yes, we had. For example, Springdale Presbyterian Church had several members that taught in the program. Then I had Unity Church, several members taught for years in the program. As a matter of fact, a couple of preachers at Unity Church, they were part of the program. So we have had, yes, churches have been involved in teaching the program, but we had to be a little bit careful because we had to have trained people and tell them that, yes, we may be people of different faith, but we do not promote any one religion or other in the school system. But Archbishop Cully told me in his schools, in the Catholic schools, we can talk about God as much as we want, because I talked with him about that. But I want to mention something with that, what Doris said, and just expound on that so people can understand that we continuously need volunteers in this program. It is done by volunteers. We sometimes have reimbursed people for their travel expense, gas and all that. But it is very important for community members to teach the children the value of hard work and how not to make incendiary remarks about things that they hear but to dissipate. Like I would teach them, if somebody is telling a lie clearly, don't call them a liar. Say something else that makes it a little less incendiary. And trying to not to put children in a corner so that they have no escape route. Always give the kids an opportunity to save their face. It's very important in life to do that. And although then, we have to be very careful what we hear on TV, and we have had lots of discussion because I taught in the detention center straight for 5 years. There was no 10-week stuff. They told me I have to come here every week. But I had the children tell us how they would do act of kindness. How, if there is a scene that they see, like I asked them, what would happen if I came, let's say, I'm just going to pick a number. Let's say I came at a certain street at 9 o'clock in the night and they were in the corner. I asked them, I said, would you introduce me to your friends? And one of the kids said, oh, Dr. Tim, if I were you, I wouldn't acknowledge you. So I wanted to improve their confidence level. I taught them about virtuosity. And these are the words that we try to help them to understand so they can be respectful to each other and not call each other names.
It sounds like you need to be talking to the politicians these days.
If I could follow up on.
Let me ask you this question. We got a kid, let's say you got a kid that's raised in a dysfunctional family, and the family is fighting all the time. The kid's exposed to violence. The stepmother and the mother are fighting all the time. How do you teach a kid to deal with a constant struggle like that?
Doris, may I please answer first and then you can talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have actually faced this situation because we have a little box in our class where children put their questions anonymously. If they have a question, and if something that looked very, like I was teaching in a school in Bowling Green, and where at the Warren East High School, and when somebody wrote something that I thought was really scary, I immediately went and talked to the principal and let them handle that. We did not address the issue of the family in the classroom. I always, if there was something that requires attention, I talk to the counselor and the principal in private and let them handle that. Because, I have always used that word among ourselves, and I said, there is a tremendous sense of entitlement in the country, and sometimes the entitlement interferes with education and good behavior. So we have to be very careful. I wrote a play for the children in one of these community centers, and they performed this play which says, children carried a little sign that said, I will not smoke in the car. I will read to my children before they go to bed. I was called by the director. He said to me, or she said to me, he said, Dr. Banerjee, that play didn't go very well. And I understood it didn't go very well because obviously the children tried to tell somebody that, hey, I don't like you to smoke in the car when I'm sitting in it. So the whole idea is that we have tried to avoid confrontation with the parents and anything that requires attention, because SPAVA's plan originally was never to educate the parents. Our plan was to educate the children.
Okay, I understand that. Well, what do you say to a kid who is being constantly bombarded with controversy and violence? How do you teach them to react to that?
I think the most important thing as a mentor or as any adult that would be working with a student, the most important thing you can do is listen to that child, because they need to know that somebody cares enough about them that they're willing to listen. And as Dr. Banerjee said, if you're aware of situations such as that, it's very, like I always tell my mentors, if you are in a situation where you feel like a child is either a danger to themselves or to others, then, or in a situation that's dangerous for them, it's very important to let the counselor know immediately, though lots of times the counselors are already aware of that, because those kind of issues often, I mean, you can teach children like breathing exercises to kind of calm down. You can talk to them about learning how to make positive comments about themselves and that kind of thing. But when you're dealing with with issues where it's a continual part of a child's life, that's where the mental health specialists and the counselors in the schools definitely become and should be a part of whatever's going on with that child, because those kind of issues, a child needs counseling way above what we are capable of doing within a 10-week period for an hour in each class. But and other than just the simple things like listening and helping the child understand that they have worth and value, and helping them just even maybe express that worth and value in themselves.
If I could jump in
Doris,
here,
Yeah,
if I
Mark,
could jump in for just
go
a second.
ahead.
I think
Yeah, Mark.
it's important for your listeners to understand that SPAVA is taught in a classroom environment. So our challenge is to provide the students with tools which are in the curriculum, but at the same time, if one child has a certain issue, which as Timir said, comes out, it generally will come out of the question box, or it could come up in discussion. Our job is then to refer that particular issue to the teacher, because we just don't have the capacity to handle and mentor individual students. That's not part of our mission.
Mark, as treasurer and president, could you kind of give us a sense of the financial situation of SPAVA? You know, how do you get resources? I don't necessarily need numbers, but you know, do you fundraise? What do you advertise? Just give us an overview of how that works.
Our primary source of funding,
Mark went away.
I can't hear it.
Mark, I don't think we can hear you.
All right, well,
Can you-
I can kind of step in there. Our
Okay.
primary source of funding is grant writing, and from the middle of January through the end of March, I wrote 12 different grants, and I'm in the process of writing 2 more right now. We also, for all your listeners out there, Give for Good Louisville is coming up soon in September, and that's a perfect way for people to support SPAVA financially. And then also, one of the things that I'm starting to do this summer is reach out to businesses. I'm going to begin reaching out to businesses to see if they would be willing to sponsor SPAVA with a financial donation, or mentors. And then if they give a financial donation, to ask them if they would be willing to commit to that every single year. So those are kind of the primary fundraising type, the way we get the finances for SPAVA.
Doris, have you?
I would like to.
Go ahead, and then I want to ask
Like-
Doris a question.
I would like to just mention that Doris is writing lots of grants to help us. We have had lots of friends, personal donations, and that has kept us going. And from Greater Louisville Medical Society to multiple organizations, including Stockyards Bank, they have all helped us a little bit. And
Ollie.
we would like more organizations to understand the value of it. And I would like the city of Louisville to help us a little bit. Because, every time there has been a killing or something like that, I've always looked at the person to see, oh my God, was this person my student? Thank God, but it hasn't, that I can recognize. But anyway, so like children understand, and I want to just go back for a second to say it for the listeners, that about this situation, we were discussing about if there is a aggressiveness in the family and how do you teach the children. Well, I'm going to give you an example of a little girl whose name I shall not mention, though I know her. She wrote a letter, and she actually wrote a part of an essay in which she said that my parents were fighting, to which she said to them, you know, down and talk about it before yelling at each other like SPAVA has taught us. I've never forgotten that. And she said that to us.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So, sorry, it's your turn to ask the question. I interrupted you.
Doris, did you have experience in grant writing before while you were teaching?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I wrote grants while I taught.
Okay. So
Yeah, and one of the main grants I wrote while I taught was a huge Title I grant, and those are very, very difficult to get. When I was at Southern Middle School about 25 years ago, and we got a huge $50,000 two-year grant through them, and 25 years ago that was a huge grant. So, but then I wrote smaller grants also.
So, how do you, if you got an organization who doesn't have someone like you as trying to get grants, how would you go about that? Do you hire a grant writer? Or do you try to get one to volunteer? I'm a member of a group that tries to help cancer patients, and I've contacted some grant writers and had no success.
Well, yes, we did get a capacity, something called a capacity grant this year through the city, and one of the fringe benefits that kind of came with that is we get $1,850 worth of services through Community Foundation of Louisville, and one of the options that we can use that $1,850 with is for writing grants. So if you're interested in trying to find somebody, you could call the Community Foundation of Louisville. But their grant writing fee is, I think it's now $95 an hour, which means that you're going to have to be trying to get some really, really large grants to cover those fees. So how I've decided SPAVA is going to use that $1,850 is I will write the grant, but then I will work with the person, with the grant writer at Community Foundation of Louisville, maybe an hour or 2 hours, ask them to go over the grant. What can I make better in your opinion? Change that and then submit the grant and see if that will help to get more grants.
How much oversight or input does any particular school have in your activities? I remember when I did this, again, this was a long time ago, and it was the very, very beginning of the program. There didn't seem to be very much. They kind of let us do what we wanted to do. So I'm kind of curious, when you go to a place, do you have some sort of interaction with the administration so they have an idea what your plan is, or you show them an outline? How does that work? Because when I'm just going back to my experience of many years ago, it was pretty loose.
I could take that one on a higher level. As far as JCPS goes, we operate under a memorandum of agreement, and it's a fairly lengthy legal document, and it spells out really what we can and cannot do on more of a global basis, if you will.
Could you give us a few examples when you get finished with the explanation, please?
Examples. There's certain, I think one thing that, and Doris can jump in here as well, but one thing that you're really not, or you're prohibited from doing is collecting data, specific student data. You know, the students are a protected class, and so we cannot capture data, so to speak, on the students. I won't say we can, but Doris can jump in here too. It's a very, very complicated process. Then there's other things like, we have to have background checks and
Liability insurance.
Yeah, liability insurance. So there's a number of requirements, but Dr. Polio is the signator on that, and then they have me sign it. So that's kind of the overriding governance, so to speak. with regard to the public schools, and I think Doris could speak to the more specific requirements that a principal or a teacher may have.
Yes, at the schools, I usually work once administrative permission has been given at a school or an administrative team decides that they want SPAVA there. I usually work with either a mental health specialist, the counselor, or the FRISCY, the Family Resource Youth Service Center coordinator, in setting up what the school wants, and they pretty much dictate what their expectations are regarding the grade level they want us to work with, the number of classes, the time, the days of the week, all that's, I get all that, and then I get all the information from the mentors that I have to see when they can work those times or work when they're available, and then I put it all together like a big, huge jigsaw puzzle. But the schools very much dictate what their needs are, because in going into the schools, we cannot be a burden to the schools because they're already dealing with so much, especially since the pandemic. And I've read studies that are saying it's going to take kids 10 or 15 years to catch up with the academics that they lost during the pandemic. So when I go in, we kind of in a way cater not in a bad way, like you think about movie stars catering that way, but truly work to cater to the needs of their students and the teachers and the school.
Now, are the requirements or the requests, or I'm not exactly sure how to state this, of the religious schools different from the public schools?
No, it's pretty much the same, but last year we were in none of the Catholic schools because they got a new social emotional learning program called Frenzy that they're using. And I know that because I was the principal at St. Andrew Academy the year before last. And all the schools in the Archdiocese, all the Catholic schools, are using the Frenzy program. So they have to pay for that. And I think one of the advantages for SPAVA is that it is free. And it's such an important program, too, because we work from a preventative perspective and kind of proactive when it comes to nonviolence. So I don't know when and if any of the Catholic schools would decide they want us back. We are in some other private schools, the West End School, and then the other one is the Nativity. So both are considered private schools.
Well, let me then ask a similar question in a different way. If you go to a school in a lower income district as opposed to an upper income district, are there differences there in the issues that you deal with?
No, I don't. The issues are all the same, I think. But when you're dealing with a school that there's a greater poverty level within the school or more ACEs students in that school, you're going to have a greater percentage of the kids who are struggling with those issues of, trauma in the house, divorce, violence that they're dealing with, domestic violence, child abuse. You're going to have more kids experiencing those issues if they're coming from poverty, because studies show that poverty and violence oftentimes are associated with each other.
Well, let me ask you.
Doris, may I please?
Go ahead. So I'm sorry,
Mike,
Tim.
I would like to just interject. If you look at the school shootings, you will find out that actually the middle income and the high income schools are the ones that produce the guys that went out and killed the others. Starting from Heath High School, it was not a poverty school.
Wow. Well, I've had 5 children, and as they have all grown up, the most difficult times that I've had with them has been in their adolescence. So I guess the question is, when you go to a grammar school versus a high school, may ask you the same questions about the high income, low income, other things like that. Are there issue differences that you deal with in those two different environments?
Doris, I'm going to just say, may I just
Yeah, go ahead.
May I just say, okay, in some of the lower income schools, some of us may not recognize that the children actually run the family. I had a kid in my class, he was 14 years old. He told me, you know, Dr. Tim, you will never understand what I do. I have a young brother I take care of. And so people have to understand and be empathetic about this whole situation, because many of these children have a huge burden on their shoulders.
They're parents
Go ahead,
already.
Doris.
Yes.
They're parents already.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're still dealing with the issues of maybe when you get into high school, there would be the possibility or greater risk of more gun violence, maybe, that these kids are dealing with when they get older, more gang issues than the little ones. But a lot of the issues are still the same. The family issues they're dealing with, the poverty that they're dealing with, from high school to the lower grades, or even from the schools that deal with more poverty and less poverty.
In your program, do you get into gang issues, how to resist that and how to deal with it?
No.
What?
Other than if we teach them the skills, how to communicate, how to be assertive when it comes to taking up for their rights, talking about not bullying, hopefully talking about those kind of topics will help steer them away and help them. Students oftentimes get involved with gangs because they feel the need to belong, and this can be a way to begin to help kids understand that there are ways that you can belong in good ways in addition to in bad ways.
Now, do
Yeah,
you deal with? Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
Well, I can, but to say that we do focus mostly on the younger kids. Our program is designed to be preventative. We won't not go into high schools or middle schools, but the sweet spot, so to speak, for SPAVA seems to be, in our experience, or definitely in my experience, is those 4th and 5th graders. If you can give them some tools early on, sometimes by the time they get, middle and definitely high school, they're a little too far into the gang behavior and some of their attitudes and so forth.
Now, do you specifically deal with bullying directly, or is that just something that's kind of taken in an indirect way?
The program, the way it's taught, and the curriculum has it's not hit and miss. It builds up to a bullying
Lesson.
Conclusion, if you will, and that conclusion of the program is a bullying role play. And so what we do is we have roles of the bully, the bully's friend, and the person who's being bullied, and their friends, and they come up with their own themes as to what the issue is, and then they use what they've been taught in SPAVA up until that point in dealing with the bully. And in my classes, the teacher actually recorded those, and we would watch the videos, and their classmates would critique their performance, so to speak, and whether they brought out and used they'd identify the techniques they were taught in SPAVA. So that's really kind of the culmination of the program, and it builds to that. So to answer your question, yes, specifically we do deal with bullying.
And I would like to add to that and say that I have also in my classes very much taught the children about the different kinds of bullying: physical, emotional, and economic bullying, and how to respect women, and how many times economic bullying can be, because sometimes I said as we grow up, depending upon our situation in life, we think if a mom is just kind of taking care of the things in the house, that doesn't mean that I can just pay less and put more stress on mom. That's a form of a bullying. So I made the children understand that very clearly. That is very important for us as we grow up as men to recognize the fact that we must work for our sisters to get equal pay as we do for our jobs. That's part of our responsibility. So I showed them statistics of how women get less pay than we men. And these are the things children have to understand up front. And I have helped many of these kids understand. And I've taught them resilience so they're not bullied. A young fellow who graduated from St. X after leaving the JCPS, and he went and volunteered somewhere in the eastern Kentucky and wrote me a just unbelievable letter. He says, Dr. Tim, you taught me about resilience. You told me that I'm going to possibly face that my parents will get divorced. And then you said that sometimes children are used as little spies. And then I will be, if I don't do this, one of the parents might yell at me. But I learned from you that we must be equal, learn to love both parents equally and not be spies for each other. So I must not be bullied by one or the other. And they understand that if we give them real examples of life.
How many,
So that was my,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say, so that was, that kind of a letter from children. I work in the family community center at this moment as a volunteer. I saw a kid who is in University of Louisville Medical School, and he came and volunteering, and I recognized him, and I said, oh my God, you're in my 7th grade class. And he told me, yes, you taught me about resilience and it is because of you that I'm becoming a doctor. So I think these are very important things for children to learn, that things that they might face as we have grown older, to pass on some of this information to them through our SPAVA program.
How many mentors do you have actively involved in the school program starting this year?
This year, I'm just in the process of getting started. Last year, altogether, I had 21 mentors who volunteered approximately 900 hours, and I was very proud of that.
Wow, that's
not enough. That's not
Right.
enough. There's more demand than there are mentors.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a constant challenge we have.
Do you find that getting college students and graduate students involved, does that make a difference to the kids relate to younger people than they do to middle-aged or older people?
I've seen with the college students that I think that they can develop some very strong relationships with the students because they're not that far off in age. But then you also have great value in the older mentors also who bring life experiences with them. So I think sometimes it depends on the personality of the mentor also. I think that plays a big factor in it with how they deal with the students and the manner in which they bond with the mentor.
Now, if you have a limited number of mentors who are working 900 hours, do you deal with burnout issues?
No. Anybody that mentors, they know when they start what it will deal with or what they'll have to deal with. And with the college students especially, it's only for 10 weeks. And for some of them, they're either doing their internships or getting college hours required. Some mentors I have struggled more with their classes. And there have been 2 situations where I've actually gone into the schools, like for the whole 10 weeks and worked with the mentor as they were working with the students because they were dealing with some very difficult students. So, I work to very much make the experience very positive for those who choose to be mentors for SPAVA.
The question that was asked, if the younger mentors, if the children make connections, and I'm going to tell you, the answer is probably yes. Because there was a time when Dr. Flynn, myself, Dr. McMasters, Dr. Hiram Polk, Dr. Chagpar, all of these people who volunteered, their operations were postponed a little bit or whatever way they made their time. The point is they made a difference because, like, for example, Dr. Coots used to teach in the program. And Dr. Coots told me that they don't listen to me. I said, well, Dr. Coots, they don't know that you're Dr. Coots. You're Dr. Coots to us. To the children, you are not as effective. So I think which is very difficult, and young people make a better connection in that regard because they can relate to their age, and I think they understand better.
Well,
And I think that the younger mentors also, they have a better grasp of almost the needs of the students, because I know that last school year, the big cartoon character was a little dog named Bluey. And the college mentors are the ones that told me that, and they had some of their lessons around Bluey because it was something that the kids related to. So those kind of things, I think, cause a little bit of a can produce a little bit a closer connection also.
we're getting close to the end of our lollipop here. We've got about 3 minutes left. What I thought I would suggest is I'd like to give each one of you an opportunity to make whatever final statements you'd like to make to our mentors, and then Paul will take us out.
Okay, so I'm going to say that I would very much like to those who are listening to this program to hopefully volunteer, because we need lots of mentors. We need more mentors and more funds to make this thing happen, because this is a very important program to teach the children so that how to be respectful and honorable and become useful citizens and not shoot each other, which doesn't amount to very much in our life.
Right. Yeah, and I'd like to add to kind of what Timir said that not only do we need volunteers to mentor our, or to support us financially, but there are many other ways that somebody could help. If somebody is like a retired teacher and they've written grants before, I would be more than happy to welcome anybody that could help me with that. Or if somebody could help with our social marketing, or could help with just even finding grants that I could write. So there's so many other ways that somebody could help, and that contact information is on the website.
Yeah, I would say we have a very small board. We're looking to add new board members. So if your listeners would have an interest in SPAVA, I think we'd be certainly anxious to speak with them. I'll also make the point on the younger mentors versus what I call the community mentors, or the older, more life experienced mentors. We have more continuity with the older mentors. With the college age kids, it's hard to get continuity, and it's really kind of a one-off thing for them. So as important as they are, we really need to strengthen our numbers out in the community, and hopefully your listeners will, if they would like to contact us and learn more about SPAVA or shadow a SPAVA mentor this coming school year, that would be most appreciated and encouraged.
Well, listen, I want to thank you all for coming on here, and I want to thank you all for the wonderful job you're doing out there for the community in general. Paul?
Okay, well, it was a great show. I really enjoyed it. And
Thank you.
If anybody out there is interested in contacting SPAVA, drop me a line at ksphllouisville@gmail.com, and I'll connect you with them. So I guess we're going to be signing off now, so please check back in with us. Thank you.